Today, we'll explore the hidden connections between Freemasonry, the Jesuits, and the Vatican. We'll uncover how their influence in global affairs is steering the world toward a one-world government. John F. Kennedy himself warned us, saying, "There is a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot." This crucial message was shared just days before he was assassinated by the very powers he sought to expose. Well, all roads lead to pagan Rome, so let's look at evidence. In 1933, the Vatican signed a concordat with Nazi Germany, a move that legitimized Hitler's regime and safeguarded the Church's interests in exchange for staying out of political matters. This agreement enabled the Nazis to consolidate their power with minimal opposition from one of Germany's most influential institutions. While the Vatican did not directly finance the Nazis, its silence and cooperation indirectly supported the regime's oppressive policies. The Concordat reveals the moral complexities and potential complicity of the Vatican during this dark period. Theologian Michael Schmaus noted that Catholic social teachings, which opposed liberalism and favored a structured social hierarchy, resonated with Nazi ideology. This ideological overlap is evident in the 1933 Concordat, which required German bishops to pledge allegiance to Hitler. While the Vatican aimed to protect its own interests, this pact inadvertently aligned it with the Nazi regime. Gustav Gundlach, a Jesuit priest, was instrumental in advocating for the Concordat. His support for the agreement was pivotal in shaping the Church's stance towards the Nazis, ensuring its influence during a politically turbulent time. However, Gundlach's actions and the Vatican's subsequent cooperation with the Nazi regime have sparked controversy, as critics argue that the Church prioritized its own survival over taking a firm stand against the Nazis. In a 1973 address marking the 400th anniversary of the Jesuit order, Pope Paul VI praised the Jesuits for their rapid growth and impact, stating, "From the time of its restoration, this religious family enjoys the sweet help of God, and has enriched itself very quickly with great progress. The Church needs soldiers of Christ with valor, armed with a dauntless faith, ready to confront difficulties." However, this raises a question: where in the Bible does it say that Christ needs soldiers and not saints? Christ himself emphasized humility and kindness, not militaristic power. This discrepancy highlights a broader issue. In Revelation 13 verses 16 to 17 it states, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." This scriptural reference draws a parallel to the historical context of the Roman Empire, where the Pontifex Maximus wielded total control over societal and religious life. Just as the Roman Pontifex held dominion, today's powerful institutions, under the guise of spiritual leadership, have expanded their reach, amassing significant influence and control. This shift from Christ's teachings of humility raises important questions about the true nature of religious authority. Throughout history, the Jesuits, officially known as the Society of Jesus, have been praised for their educational and missionary endeavors. Yet, lurking behind their venerable facade is an intriguing and unsettling connection to the occult. As we delve into this shadowy aspect, the link to the ancient title of Pontifex Maximus and the practice of summoning demonic entities becomes evident. The Jesuits' deep engagement with mystical studies raises questions about their possible involvement in occult practices. To understand this connection, we must look back at the role of the Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of ancient Rome who held supreme religious authority. This title, which was later adopted by the Pope, was associated with summoning and appeasing deities, including lesser gods and demonic spirits. The Pontifex Maximus was seen as a mediator between the divine and the earthly realms, often involved in rituals that sought to harness supernatural power. Enter the grimoire of Pope Honorius III, a text notorious for its instructions on magical rituals. An association that stirs speculation about the Church's engagement with occult practices. This manuscript, filled with arcane rites and instructions for summoning spirits, hints at a darker side of religious authority. The historical role of the Pontifex Maximus, combined with the Jesuits' alleged esoteric interests, underscores a possible continuum of occult practices within religious institutions. The grimoire of Pope Honorius III serves as a symbol of this intersection, suggesting that the quest for supernatural power has been a recurring theme throughout religious history. The practice of summoning demonic spirits or lesser gods to serve one's will reflects an age-old pursuit of power beyond the mortal realm. The link between ancient rituals and modern religious practices reveals a complex and sometimes unsettling connection between faith, power, and the occult. Throughout history, the Catholic Church has used curses and anathemas to silence those who challenged its teachings. This practice, rooted in the role of the Pontifex Maximus, wasn't just about religious condemnation, it had real-world consequences. Being anathematized meant not only social ostracism and loss of property but also had severe psychological impacts. The curse of being labeled as damned could lead to feelings of depression and a sense of perpetual misfortune. This dark legacy suggests that these curses might have had lasting effects on those targeted and their descendants. The power of the Pontifex Maximus to bless or curse raises questions about the integrity of religious authority. The harsh penalties and their long-term impacts highlight a troubling contradiction in the Church's history. People embodying such evil should not be seen as representatives of Christ. Could this figure be the very Antichrist foretold in the Bible? According to Revelation 13 verse 8. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. In Christian eschatology, the Antichrist is a figure who opposes Christ and is often associated with deceit and fabrication. In 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4, which describes the Antichrist's behavior, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This verse describes a figure who sets himself up as a divine authority, sitting in a place of worship and claiming to be God, which is often linked to discussions about the Antichrist in Christian eschatology. To curse others simply because they hold different beliefs is the epitome of what it means to be the Antichrist. Jesus Christ, in his teachings, emphasized love, compassion, and acceptance for all. He preached that we should love our neighbors as ourselves and show kindness to everyone, regardless of their beliefs. So when any institution or individual resorts to cursing or condemning others for their differences, it starkly contrasts with Christ's message. This behavior reflects the very essence of opposition to Christ's teachings and embodies the spirit of the Antichrist. The grimoire of Pope Honorius, attributed to Pope Honorius III, is widely regarded as one of the most demonic texts in the occult tradition. This manual, purportedly authored by a pope, serves as a guide for summoning and controlling demonic entities. It stands out for its detailed instructions on invoking these dark forces, revealing a disturbing intersection between high religious authority and the occult. It's important to note that this grimoire is not an isolated case. Throughout history, several priests and bishops, including figures like Thomas Aquinas and Saint Albertus Magnus, have been linked to occult practices. Their involvement raises a troubling question: if a priest possesses the power to exorcise demons, does it also imply that he has the power to summon them? The dark practices outlined in the grimoire of Pope Honorius suggest that those who wield spiritual power may also engage with forces that oppose Christ's teachings. This contradiction calls into question the true nature of religious authority and its role in the occult. Exodus 22 verse 18, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." In the early 1600s, Father Urbain Grandier, a French priest, became infamous for his involvement in the Devils of Loudun scandal. Accused of witchcraft and causing demonic possessions among the Ursuline nuns in Loudun, Grandier was convicted largely based on the nuns' hysterical claims and dubious testimonies. Despite a lack of solid evidence, he was executed by burning at the stake in 1634. Given the numerous cases of witchcraft, occult practices, and the thousands of sexual abuse allegations against Roman Catholic priests, one can't help but question Pope Boniface VIII's claim that salvation requires submission to the Roman pontiff. His assertion seems to align with the Church's apparent push toward establishing a one-world government. Given the pervasive evil within the Church, some might argue that such claims are deeply problematic. If the devil truly rules over a world driven by material lust and power, then it's not hard to see why the Vatican, and its army of Jesuits, under the guise of knights, might be viewed as a symbol of evil. But exactly how powerful are they? Constantino Brumidi, an Italian-American artist, is famously known for his work on the U.S. Capitol building. He once stated, "No temple can be called a capital unless it's a temple of Jupiter." Let me remind you that Jupiter is Beelzebub himself, the prince of demons. Brumidi's involvement in the Capitol is significant. He was commissioned to decorate the interior of the Capitol, including the dome. His work on the Capitol Rotunda features a grand fresco known as the Apotheosis of Washington, which portrays George Washington ascending to heaven and joining a pantheon of Roman deities. This imagery aligns with Brumidi's assertion about the Capitol being a temple akin to those of ancient Rome, suggesting that the building was conceived not merely as a seat of government but also as a symbolic temple of power and divine favor. Are all secret societies worldwide connected to the Vatican and the ongoing worship of demons, which Jesus refers to as devils? Ever wondered about the true origins of the Statue of Liberty? While it's celebrated as a symbol of freedom, its design has intriguing roots in ancient mythology. The Statue of Liberty, crafted by French sculptor Frédéric-Auguste Bartholdi and built by Gustave Eiffel, is often compared to the ancient goddess Ishtar of Babylon. Ishtar, known for her power and influence in ancient Mesopotamian cultures, symbolized various aspects of life, including love, fertility, and war. She was a dominant figure, much like the Statue of Liberty stands as a symbol of liberty and enlightenment. But there's more to this connection. The statue's design draws inspiration from Semiramis, a legendary queen and goddess in Babylonian lore, often associated with the concept of divine sovereignty. Semiramis and Ishtar share thematic similarities, representing authority and grandeur, which resonate in the statue's design. Thomas Crawford, a prominent 19th-century sculptor and contemporary of Bartholdi, is known for his works reflecting classical themes. While Crawford himself didn't design her, the influence of classical and mythological figures like Ishtar and Semiramis can be seen in the overall style and symbolism of the statue. The design embodies the grandeur and timeless qualities attributed to these ancient deities. So, the next time you see the Statue of Liberty, remember, it's more than just a symbol of freedom, it's a modern tribute to the powerful demonic figures of ancient mythology that the Vatican allegedly still venerates. Let's break down the symbolism on the dollar bill and its connections to ancient deities. The eagle featured prominently on the bill was a symbol of Jupiter, the chief Roman god. This same eagle was also used by the Nazis and the early American leaders, showing its long history of power and authority. Additionally, the U.S. motto, Annuit Coeptis, found on the dollar bill, comes from a Roman prayer to Jupiter, suggesting divine approval of important ventures. These connections hint at a possible link between ancient symbols and today's global power structures. It raises questions about whether there's a hidden struggle for control behind these symbols, tying back to ancient gods like Jupiter and Baal. It's important to note that the prince of the power of the air and sun is Beelzebub, also worshipped by the Freemasons as Lucifer. The Jesuit order, acting as the papacy's enforcers, is working to bring the world under the authority of the Pope, just as was in ancient times. Revelation 13 verse 8 states, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world." It's good to know that the Jesuits operate globally, often hidden from view, with influence extending into political parties, high-ranking officials, generals, police, magistrates, doctors, and academics. In exploring the roots of Roman Catholic doctrine, it's fascinating to see how ancient Roman texts like the Sibylline oracles and Virgil's Aeneid may have influenced its development. These works, with their themes of divine providence and Rome's special role in history, echo in the Catholic Church's self-perception as the divinely appointed guardian of Christian truth. Just as Romans were expected to sacrifice for the glory of Rome and the Pontifex Maximus, it continues today strengthened by the Jesuits themselves. On July 28, 1782, the Great Seal of the United States was adopted, incorporating symbols that echo Roman traditions. The seal's imagery, including the Latin motto, Annuit Coeptis, reflects a continuity of the Roman emphasis on divine favor and providence. This integration shows how deeply Roman cultural and religious influences have permeated various aspects of Western civilization, including the foundations of modern nations. The Apostolic Nunciature allows the Vatican, led by the Pope, to keep an eye on American government and public policy, much like how ancient Rome was run by its leaders. This office shows how the Catholic Church continues to influence political matters today. Given the Vatican's power and influence, it raises questions about its role in modern issues like the COVID-19 vaccine. If the Church has a strong impact on policy, it might have also had a say in how the vaccine was handled. Moving back onto the Bible, it was Pope Gregory IX who labeled unauthorized Bible study as heresy. Which begs the question, what were they so afraid of if they claimed to follow the same Christ? Could it be that they feared people discovering that the Pontifex Maximus was not a true Christian, which might lead to the collapse of their entire power structure? Perhaps because of the 7 sacraments of the Roman Catholic Church, only 2, baptism and the Lord's Supper, are based on Scripture. The others were created by church councils after the biblical period. It's evident that these so-called Christians have adopted different beliefs. Many true heretics claim that humanity can control the universe through secret occult knowledge, mastering the Kabbalah, a system of names, numbers, and symbols to forge their own divinity. In this system, Roman Catholics are required to go through the high priest, much like Nimrod relied on his wife Semiramis to resurrect him through black magic. This mirrors Pope Pius XI's declaration of himself as God on earth. Wait. But isn't that what Satan promised Eve, occult knowledge to become like God? If the Vatican has influence over US policy, could moving the American embassy to Jerusalem be part of a strategy to prepare the way for the Antichrist to occupy the Holy of Holies when he arrives? The Bible suggests that the Antichrist will set himself up in the temple of God, declaring himself to be God, which many interpret as a claim to divine status and a desecration of the holy site in Jerusalem. Not surprisingly, the Jesuits, under the guise of various societies of knights, are believed to be establishing a new world order for the Roman Catholic Church. Interestingly, they used to refer to each other as Brother Mason. This term eventually evolved into what we now know as Freemason. The Templars, who later evolved into the Illuminati, believed that interacting with demons and evil spirits was the key to mastering the world. However, the New Testament teaches that true perfection comes only through following the teachings of Christ. According to Catholic doctrine, those who seek ultimate authority in the Bible are considered eternally damned. Are they sure they believe in the God of the Bible at all? The Council of Trent issued 125 curses of eternal damnation against Protestantism, reflecting their mission to condemn those who did not recognize the authority of their high priest, the Pontifex Maximus. In Sebastiano Risch's artwork, commemorating the council, a deity hovers above the Pope's head. It's not Jesus, Mary, or Yahweh, the God of the Bible, but Mercury, a figure from the Sibylline and Virgilian texts of pagan Rome. This connection to Roman paganism suggests a deeper link between the council's actions and ancient pagan traditions. In our exploration today, we've uncovered intriguing layers of influence and authority. At the center of it all is the enigmatic figure known as the Black Pope, the superior general of the Jesuit order. This title, derived from the traditional black attire of the Jesuit leader, underscores the significant yet often hidden influence wielded by this position. The Superior General, or Black Pope, leads this global network, impacting various aspects of society through their extensive reach. But what does Scripture say about such influential figures? In Matthew 7 verse 15, Jesus warns, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves." This verse encourages discernment regarding those in positions of power and influence, urging us to examine their true intentions and the alignment of their actions with genuine Christian teachings. As we reflect on the role of the Black Pope and the Jesuits, it's crucial to remain vigilant and informed. Their historical and ongoing influence reminds us of the need for transparency and alignment with authentic Christian values in all areas of our lives, to avoid being condemned to hell by the very church that promotes piety.